Today I'm going to be building 4 custom LEGO Castle battle packs with different medieval and fantasy factions, including the brand new Fright Knights from CMF Series 25. Each battle pack will be designed like it's an official set. That means I'm going to try my best to make the builds make sense for the price range of a real battle pack. Alright, so without any more explanation, let's get right into it. Starting off with the brand new Fright Knights. This is the Vampire Knight, or as he's better known as, Basil the Bat Lord. I'm going to use this torso and legs as the base for my minifigures. Since this is a battle pack, I'm not going to include Basil because he's a unique character that you only really need one of. What we do need is some regular soldiers for him to command. First, I'm going to build a flag-bearing spearman. I'll use the torso and legs from the new minifigure along with this mean-looking face and a black nasal helmet. I'm going to be using black armor for all of these figs because I think it suits them the best, and that's what they used back in the 90s for the original Fright Knights. Now I'm going to take the parts from the axe that comes in the CMF to make a flag for him to hold. I'm going to make one of these for each battle pack, so the Fright Knights will carry a red banner. Alright, now let's make an archer. This time I'm going to start with these legs from an old Dragonite minifigure that I have, then adding on the new torso. I'm also going to give this guy a dark gray cape from the Mandalorian. I just love how these Mando capes look for archers. Adding on a black quiver and a mischievous looking face, all we need to finish this fig is an old medieval hood in black and a black bow, and this guy is done. This guy looks great, although I'm not sure how realistic this bow is for a medieval archer. Now for our last 2 figs, I'm going to make 2 regular knights. Using the body, legs, and shield from Basil, we can then add on some crazy looking heads and black great helms with red feathers. These guys look good, but they need some weapons, so let's take the new sword from the Barbarian CMF in Series 25 to give them to our Fright Knights. This sword actually fits really well with the kind of dark and evil vibe that the Fright Knights have. Here's all of our Fright Knights. Now we need to make a build to go along with them. One of the most common builds I see asked to make for a battle pack is a ballista, and I always recommend people go check out this one by Edgeofbricks. But I myself have never built his model, so I thought today we should change that. It only takes 45 parts to make, and most of those parts you probably already have. And if you don't have the parts, it only costs about $5 on Bricklink to order them, so it's super affordable. I love how this looks in person. The scale is basically perfect for minifigures and could actually be placed on top of a tower mock or on a castle wall, and it would look great. Now sadly the bolt doesn't shoot out and the mock doesn't have any play features other than the ability to aim the ballista, so what I'm going to do is make a small change so that you can shoot projectiles out of it. If we take this small subassembly out and set it aside for a moment, we can then fit on a spring-loaded shooter that looks nearly perfect. Then if we add on the top part back again, it looks almost the same, and we can now fire the ballista at the black falcons that you'll see more of later in the video. To finish off our first battle pack, I'm going to add a crate of different swords for the Fright Knights in case you prefer those, and I'm also going to add this crate of extra bolts for the ballista. I am really happy with how these figs look and how the battle pack looks overall. Thanks to Edgeofbricks for the original model because it's honestly the best ballista that I have ever seen at this scale. I'll leave links to his stuff in the description. Let's now move on to our next battle pack for the Orcs. The Orcs are one of my absolute favorite LEGO Castle factions, so I am so excited to make a little mock-up of the battle pack for them. Let's start with the flag bearer for the Orcs. I'll use the CMF Orc parts with this amazing braided hairpiece and dark tan studded shoulder armor to make a slightly stronger looking Orc. I'll also be making another banner for him to hold in the same style as the previous one. Now sadly I don't have any reddish brown flags, so instead I'm using gold for right now. Now let's make the archer for our pack. I'm going to start off this fig with a pair of legs from a Gamorrean guard that I'll add the Orc CMF body to. Now I'm going to take another Mando cape, this time in dark brown, and a brown quiver to put on top of it. I'll then add the Orc head and a dark brown medieval hood, and he's done. Now you've probably noticed that this guy looks pretty similar to the Fright Knights archer. I wanted each battle pack to be in the kind of same style aesthetically, so my format for each one was a siege weapon or a castle wall with 1 bannerman, 1 archer, and 2 identical knights. I think this is the perfect ratio for army building, and it's what I would want LEGO to do if they ever started making castle battle packs again. But now back to the Orcs. I love how this Orc archer looks, and I especially like the way the legs look for the Orcs. I think I'm probably going to order a few more of these, to be honest. They look that good. Now let's make 2 Orc warriors. I don't really think I should call these guys knights, but they will be identical to keep with the format of the packs. They are pretty much just your standard CMF Orc without the red cape and hairpiece. I also swapped out their weapons for flails because I think they just look better than the ones that they come with. So now that we have our figs, let's build something to go with them. I made a catapult earlier this year for my ravens, but I think we should repurpose it for the Orcs. I'm going to start with a small desert base that I'll add some brown slopes to. I want to fit an Orc shield inside of this, but it can be a little tricky with this style of shield, so let me show you how I did it. Normally, to hide a shield in a wall flush, you would have to just place the bar side of the shield on the inside of this little assembly, and it'll fit snugly in and it won't fall out. But if you try to do that with this style of shield, it just does not work. So what I did was attach a 1x1 clip to the shield, then I placed it in the arch like you would with the other shield, and it works pretty decently. I'm pretty happy with how this looks, but it does stress the shield a little bit. bit. Now to finish the catapult, I'm going to just mirror this onto the other side and add a big catapult molded piece. Now we can take our box of stones and fire them at the Black Falcons. I'll also put another crate of alternative weapons for the orcs. I just love how these guys look all standing next to each other with their catapult. It really feels like a real battle pack to me. Alright, next let's make a battle pack for the Black Falcons. Starting off first with the Bannermen. So for this first guy, I'm going to make another Spearman similar to the Fright Knights, but this one will have a pearl dark gray helmet because it matches the Black Falcon's color scheme better than black. As for the spear and banner, I'm going to use the same design again, but with a blue flag. For our archer, or better yet our crossbowman, I'm going to take the body and legs from the Falconer CMF that I will then swap the arms to black to better match the aesthetic of the classic Black Falcons. Placing a black Mando cape and a black quiver that I'll also add this mustache face to with a pearl dark gray kettle helm. These pearl dark gray kettle helms are pretty expensive nowadays, but it looks just way too good not to use. Now what would a crossbowman be without a Pavis shield? Pavis shields were used by crossbowmen to give them some cover while they had to reload, so I think we should make one for this falcon. It's a super simple build that pretty much anyone with a LEGO collection of any size can make, so here's the parts that you need. All you do is place two 2x3 plates down and decorate them with colored tiles of your faction of choice. So I went with a generic black and blue cross, which I think looks really good. Then you just have to add this clear piece on the back so your crossbowman can carry it around. And if you move the clear piece down a few studs, it can actually stand on its own like it would in real life. Alright, now that this guy is all kitted out, let's make a few standard knights to go with him. These are your basic army builders of the pack. The only kind of unique thing about them is that they are using pearl dark gray helmets instead of black because they just look so much better to me. For the build of our falcons, I think we should make a section of wall. That way, if you were to hypothetically buy multiples of this set, you could connect them all together. A few months ago, I found a picture online and was really impressed by this wall design, and I wanted to replicate it myself, but I couldn't find the instructions for it, so I just forgot about it. But today, I am happy to say that I reverse engineered it and put my own little spin on it that I think you all will like. So this mock is made up of a lot of snot building techniques, which simply put means studs not on top. With snot, you're able to get a lot of interesting angles and uses of new pieces that wouldn't be possible without. So for example, if we take these two sections of slopes and attach them to some snot bricks, we can lie them on their side and push them up against this flat section of wall to give it a slight curve on each side. This is super helpful in adding more curvature and texture to your walls without using pre-molded parts like this one that can sometimes look a little boring or amateurish. Now if we add two more sections of wall on each side, we've got a modular wall. I used the same shield hiding technique in this wall to give it a little bit more visual interest that I think looks really good. Also adding in the battlements with more snot techniques and we're done. Now obviously if you have masonry bricks or ingot pieces, this wall would look even better and more textured, but I am still yet to place a bricklink order for those parts. So I made the wall with what I had and I am super happy with it. I think a reddish brown walkway is almost necessary for castle walls, so that's what I went with, but a regular stone one or one in medium nougat would also look great. If we add in a barrel of arrows here and a treasure chest beneath the wall, we have a pretty nice looking mock if I don't say so myself. Now obviously this design isn't fully mine, but I think I did enough differently to make this one stand on its own. I'll leave a link to the Flickr page that I found the original mock at, so go check his stuff out. I love how the Black Falcons look standing atop and around their wall. It makes me so want to make a full castle mock, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. This is probably my favorite of the 4 battle packs, to be honest. And for our last battle pack, we have my favorite faction of all time, the Black Ravens. Let's start with their flag bearer, who I've made with the Tournament Knight body and legs and given them a grinning face print with a pearl dark gray nasal helm to match the other knights. He of course bears a banner of bright light orange to match their tabards. Next is our heavy raven crossbowman, who uses dual molded legs and a Viking lamelleur torso with dark red hands. This torso works great for customs of any faction, so he fits right in with the ravens. He of course also has a bright light orange Mando cape. I would have loved to use an official one here, but I'm using a custom one by Capes for Minifigs because LEGO just doesn't produce this cape in bright light orange. To finish him off, he has a pearl dark gray kettle helm. I so wish these kettle helms were cheaper because they just look incredible for crossbowmen. And of course we were going to make him a Pavis shield with black and bright light orange tiles. Seriously, if you have any crossbowmen in your armies, you should totally make these Pavis shields. They are so easy and quick to build. Let's now make 2 standard knights. These are your basic army builders for the pack that are meant to be masked, and there isn't really much to say about them other than that they look very cool. Here's the Raven Knights all together, and they of course look gorgeous, but now it's time for the build. A while ago I made a Lego Hwacho, which is a Korean artillery weapon from the 15th century. It's a really fascinating weapon that fires off a volley of projectiles almost like arrows. Here's a clip of the Mythbusters firing one. I thought I'd show how I made it here and make it the siege weapon for the Raven Knights because the size is just about right for a battle pack. It's super simple and could be made in any color scheme that you like, but I think it looks best in reddish brown and medium nougat. To hide the ugly sides of these spring-loaded shooters, you can use some snot bricks and tiles in whatever color you choose. And as for the top, you can greeble it in a ton of different ways, but this is the way I chose to do it. And that's it. It's not a super complicated build in any way, shape, or form, but man, it is fun to blast the Black Falcons with it. I'm also going to give the Ravens a few crates, one with arrows for the crossbowmen and one with an extra shield and some optional shoulder armor, and we are done. So here's all the battle packs together. together, I think these are probably my favorite battle packs that I've made so far on the channel, and are closest to what an official one might look like. Now, is the Black Falcon wall probably too big to be in a $20 battle pack? Yeah, probably. But hey, we can call it one of those super battle packs like the $30 ones that LEGO Star Wars has. If LEGO was to make castle battle packs, I think they should do it in a similar manner to these. Have a few siege weapon battle packs that can oppose other ones with small towers or sections of walls. You could, for example, have the Fright Knights battle pack on shelves at the same time as this Black Falcon one, and put them together to make a siege scene. So many fun ideas could come out of castle battle packs, and I hope we see something like that in the future. I am so happy with how all these battle packs look together, and I had a ton of fun putting the figures together and building the different mocks. I'd highly recommend you try and build some packs of your own. It's a ton of fun. Let me know which battle pack was your favorite, and if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? I'm trying to hit 10K by the end of January, and it'd mean a lot if you did. As always, thank you so much for watching.